Good morning, everyone. My name is Gretchen Vogel. I've been a medium, author, and I've channeled for more than 4.5 decades. My angels told me a very long time ago that I would bring a key through my work, and I'm beginning to believe that key is this information on karmic patterns, how our karmic patterns that we develop lifetime after lifetime. And yes, if we could remember or have a complete memory of our past lives, we would see how themes, THEMES, in different lifetimes were expressed. Both, of course, as I say, the beneficial patterns and the detrimental patterns. I wanted to know how we could have the choice to reincarnate or not. Could there ever be a choice in this? And I'll tell you why. Remember how I said that my husband and I during the pandemic were taking courses with the Buddhist curator at Harvard, Khenpo Lama Migmar Tenzin. He's got a long name. And he said something that kind of riled me a little bit, of course, in my pride and ego. He said, because of our karma, we do not have a choice whether we incarnate or not. All right, so this was a huge, almost intellectual challenge for me, not to prove him wrong. My God, Tibetan Buddhism is the height of spiritual thinking on this planet. And who am I, this little one? Anyway, so that, and the horse that told me that our horses could not create over my husband and myself's karmic patterning. Okay, so then I do have information on what these patterns actually are in energy. It's hard to understand. They were correlating it in that meditation to the elements that make us up. And I don't understand it well enough to teach it yet. I may have to drill into that a little bit further. Anyway. Okay, now that I've done some dissolution of karmic patterns, and, quite honestly, I feel and even look quite a bit different since I've been doing this work. My self-love has finally blossomed. My compassion with myself, so that I'm making better choices about how I'm treated. We won't go there. Anyway, so if we dissolve our karmic patterns, and believe me, this is not easy to do. It's very painful. I had asked recently about life review when we're out of body. Okay, so when we're out of body, we see everything. We remember everything. All of the stupid things that we did when we were cloaked in ignorance. Yes, and I guess innocence, that word does come into it a little bit, because we don't know what we're doing. Well, I didn't know what I was doing, for the first, oh my goodness, maybe, well, I don't really want to give a number, but And I have a lot of compassion for my ignorant self, because what I realize now is I had karmic expressions that I believe that I had planned to, in this lifetime, to change my personal blueprint, to change my personal light code from my past lives. It was time to heal. And now, as I've said, or maybe you haven't heard because you haven't listened to everything, which is cool. The only place we can change our light code, the blueprint that we are carrying as an individual expression of consciousness, is in the farthest manifesting level or dimension, if you will, that we participate in. So enlightenment doesn't happen in the afterlife. Enlightenment happens in life, if it is to happen at all. Because I was always very curious in my death research, the afterlife research, why life review wasn't a really big deal. Well, we have to do it here, and we have to do it consciously, and we have to bring to bear every part of our mind and spirit and emotions in order to change these patterns. And it's only through becoming aware of the themes, of the emotions that precede the actions that are destructive, that we can change our light code. We can change our blueprint here. And that gives us the choice to manifest in what my horse called the greater realities. Anyway, so I'm going to share something with you today that's probably the most difficult share that I'm going to do, and I'm not even sure I am going to put this video up, but I was molested when I was 14 by a 4-H leader. I was alone with him in his car, and we went to a very isolated area. I can remember exactly the hills, the dips, the valleys. This was in Pennsylvania. And I tried to get out of the car, but I couldn't. And then I blacked out. I literally was in a blackout for 3 or 4 days. I think I was somewhat functioning, in terms of my parents had no clue, and this was nothing I could take to them. And that sort of has a history too that I won't share. And I always felt really victimized by this experience because it altered my ability to be sexual. And I'm going to leave that right there. Okay. But it changed me. It changed me profoundly. It probably was the biggest trauma I have ever experienced. So it came through in the information through my angels and guides. And now this is a case where, boy, you need to trust your guides. You need to have worked with them long enough to know that the voice, the information, and how it comes to you is coming from a very pure source, your own pure source. And I don't think that I would have ever accepted this information had I not had the spiritual muscle or the spiritual chops, let us say, from having channeled for so long. So they, and I'm using they with a capital T, told me that I had abused my sexual power in another lifetime. And I actually do remember this lifetime. And I do have vague memories of this. It was probably in Belgium. I know it was French speaking. My current husband actually rescued me out of that situation, which is kind of a neat visual. Anyway, I believe that I was a sexual addict in that lifetime. I believe there was a sexual addiction in that lifetime. It was during the fancy dress up time. I don't know quite when that was. Sometime late 18th century, early, oh, I don't know. But anyway, I remember the clothes distinctly. So in that lifetime, I had abused, obviously I must have been very beautiful in that lifetime. And actually, when I was 14, I was stunning. But anyway, I immediately felt the truth of what my guides were saying. That it was like, okay, this was a karmic balancing. And I really like balance more than payback. It was a balancing of that karma from that past life. And I have not experienced sexuality in this lifetime the way I have to assume most people do. Anyway, but fortunately, with my current husband, who's the only person I ever wanted anywhere near me, we had some amazing energetic experiences in that arena. So it don't feel too bad for me. Okay, it's not that bad. When you really, really trust your guides, you can accept that probably the most damaging event of your entire life could have been part of a benefit or I should have thought about how I was going to say this a little bit before. It just felt right to me immediately. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It really makes sense. And so going forward, that's not going to be a part of my blueprint. Um, so there's so much more that I need to talk about. And like I said, I'm not even sure I'm going to put this one up. And now you know absolutely everything about me. There's nothing more to share. Anyway, um, so thank you for any time and attention you give this. All I want to say is that the little young woman who said to me, when you look back on your life, you realize that everything was perfect. Everything is here to benefit us. I do believe that now. Even my RA, even my disability, that is here to serve me now. At this time in my life, I may not understand it. Maybe it's karmic. Um, I accept, I accept it. I accept it. And it's not really slowing down this part of my work. So um, please like and subscribe and share. I'm sure that you all also have some incredibly difficult chapters, events in your life. And maybe this will introduce the possibility of another way to look at it. Because if my experience when I was 14 prevented me from expressing destructive potential in me, I completely accept that. It's okay. It's okay finally. I can love that part of myself. No matter what's happened to you, love yourself. Be compassionate with yourself. You know, so many of us, and this is the next one I'm going to do. So many of us are moving here with the earth to a higher expression. And we have to be, some of us go through the ringer in our lifetime and still cling to our spiritual nature that God is great, that he who abides in love abides in God and God in him, which is my personal mantra. All right. Thank you for visiting me today. There's stuff down in the descriptor box if you want to look.